the country today, faculty, staff, students, academic workers, and community members are gathering in order to stand up and speak out in defense of higher education. So we'll start today by asking people to read from a letter from Mahmoud Khalil, dictated from ICE detention. We'll have some poems, and then we'll open up the floor to all of you to share what is meaningful to you about the university or to share your thoughts on what is happening right now. Thanks everyone again for coming out today. So as many of you know, recent graduate, activist, soon-to-be father, and legal permanent resident Mahmoud Khalil was arrested and detained in direct retaliation for his advocacy for Palestinian rights at Columbia University. Later, the Department of Homeland Security transferred him to a Louisiana detention center 1,400 miles away from his home and family. Following his illegal arrest, a team of lawyers joined his legal team. They are arguing that his detention violates his constitutional rights, including free speech and due process, and goes beyond the government's legal authority. Here is the letter Khalil dictated over the phone from ICE detention in Louisiana.
So, March 18th, 2025. My name is Mahmoud Khalil, and I am a political prisoner. I am writing to you from a detention facility in Louisiana, where I wake to cold mornings and spend long days bearing witness to the quiet injustices underway against a great many people precluded from the protections of the law. Who has the right to have rights? It is certainly not the humans crowded into the cells here. It isn't the Senegalese man I met who has been deprived of his liberty for a year, his legal situation in limbo, and his family an ocean away. It isn't the 21-year-old detainee I met who stepped foot in this country at age 9, only to be deported without so much as a hearing. Justice escapes the contours of this nation's immigration facilities. Anyone want to read next? On March 8th, I was taken by DHS agents who refused to provide a warrant and accosted my wife and me as we returned from dinner. By now, the footage of that night has been made public. Before I knew what was happening, agents handcuffed and forced me into an unmarked car. At that moment, my only concern was for Noor's safety. I had no idea if she would be taken too, since the agents had threatened to arrest her for not leaving my side. DHS would not tell me anything for hours. I did not know the cause of my arrest or if I was facing immediate deportation. At 26 Federal Plaza, I slept on the cold floor. In the early morning hours, agents transported me to another facility in Elizabeth, New Jersey. There, I slept on the ground and was refused a blanket despite my request. Anyone?
My arrest was a direct consequence of exercising my right to free speech as I advocated for a free Palestine and an end to the genocide in Gaza, which resumed in full force Monday night. With January's ceasefire now broken, parents in Gaza are once again cradling two small shrouds, and families are forced to weigh starvation and displacement against bombs. It is our moral imperative to persist in the struggle for their complete freedom. I was born in a Palestinian refugee camp in Syria to a family which has been displaced from their land since the 1948 Nakba. I spent my youth in proximity to yet distant from my homeland. But being Palestinian is an experience that transcends borders. I see in my circumstances similarities to Israel's use of administrative detention, imprisonment without trial or charge, to strip Palestinians of their rights. I think of our friend Omar Khatib, who was incarcerated without charge or trial by Israel as he returned home from travel. I think of Gaza hospital director and pediatrician Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya, who was taken captive by the Israeli military on December 27th and remains in an Israeli torture camp today. For Palestinians, imprisonment without due process is commonplace. I've always believed that my duty is not only to liberate myself from the oppressor, but also to liberate my oppressors from their hatred and fear. My unjust detention is indicative of the anti-Palestinian racism that both the Biden and Trump administrations have demonstrated over the past 16 months, as the U.S. has continued to supply Israel with weapons to kill Palestinians and prevented international intervention. For decades, anti-Palestinian racism has driven efforts to expand U.S. laws and practices that are used to violently repress Palestinians, Arab Americans, and other communities. That is precisely why I am being targeted. While I await legal decisions that hold the futures of my wife and child in the balance, those who enabled my targeting remain comfortably at Columbia University. President Shafiq Armstrong and Dean Yarimilo laid the groundwork for the U.S. government to target me by arbitrarily disciplining pro-Palestinian students and allowing viral doxing campaigns based on racism and disinformation to go unchecked. Columbia targeted me for my activism, creating a new authoritarian disciplinary office to bypass due process and silence students criticizing Israel. Columbia surrendered to federal pressure by disclosing student records to Congress and yielding to the Trump administration's latest threats. My arrest, the expulsion or suspension of at least 22 Columbia students, some stripped of their BA degrees just weeks before graduation, and the expulsion of SWC President Grant Minor on the eve of contract negotiations are clear examples. If anything, my detention is a testament to the strength of the student movement in shifting public opinion towards Palestinian liberation. Students have long been at the forefront of change, leading the charge against the Vietnam War, standing on the front lines of the civil rights movement, and driving the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. Today, too, even if the public has yet to fully grasp it, it is students who steer us towards truth and justice. The Trump administration is targeting me as part of a broader strategy to suppress dissent. Visa holders, green card carriers, and citizens alike will all be targeted for their political beliefs. In the weeks ahead, students, advocates, and elected officials must unite to defend the right to protest Palestine. At stake are not just our voices, but the fundamental civil liberties of all. Knowing full that this moment transcends my individual circumstances, I hope nonetheless to be free to witness the birth of my firstborn child.
580 days of the Israeli assault on Gaza. 580 days of a genocide that has claimed more than 50,000 people, with many more under the rubble, unclaimed or unidentified. 50,000 people killed, more than 17,000 children, one child killed every 45 minutes. That means that at the end of this day, if they have survived, 30 parents will mourn their children, 30 parents will wail their names, will cling to their shrouds, will clutch their small hands, their hair, their feet for the last time. Today marks 580 days of attacks on the West Bank that are unparalleled in their brutality. Thousands have been murdered, tens of thousands have been displaced, homes destroyed, streets razed, cities fenced off. Today marks Palestinian Prisoners' Day. Israel holds almost 9,900 Palestinians in detention centers or prisons. 400 children. 400 children. Earlier this month, for the first time, a Palestinian child by the name of Walid Ahmed died in an Israeli prison. His charge was throwing stones at an Israeli jeep. If you're here, you're likely outraged and saddened by the Trump administration's policies across the United States. If you're here, you know that the events that we have allowed, the enabling of genocide, the spread of settlements, the murder and repression of Palestinians and those advocating for their liberation, both here and there, these have enabled these policies. And I'm asking you to stand with me in stopping them. There's plenty that you can do. On this campus, support the divestment proposal, support BDS, support Mohsen, support all the Palestinians who are dying for their liberation. Your actions have meaning, and there is no other choice.
Every staff member who is here, who's doing it for the better of our community, who knows that as someone in higher education, their voice is worth something. All of your voices are worth something. So thank you guys so much, everybody. Thank you.